Studio guests this morning, Casino-Free opponents Steve Trettel, Rob Mitchell, and John Seaver. Gentlemen, once again, good morning, John.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Good. What is, I guess my first question of all three of you, what do you think is new since the last time we talked about the casino? Tell us what you've been doing to get the word out about your work and what you feel is new with this proposal. John?
Well, I mean, as you said this morning, the draft proposal of the host agreement is out.
Yep.
That's a first cut. It includes a lot of good points. And, generally speaking, I think the town fathers are going to do the best to safeguard Milford. That does not mean, however, that this is a good deal for the town.
Do you think Foxwoods is going to work to give the best deal to the town?
No, they're going to work to support their interests, their self-interest.
They're in the money-making business, though.
Yes, right. They're out-of-towners.
If they don't make money, we don't get money.
That's correct. But, as we just saw yesterday, the Milford Area Chamber of Commerce, right, is, totally divided. They came out, they tried to do this study. The membership is completely divided. Now, compare and contrast.
Can I tell you something? They got like 600, 700 members. 15 people responded?
Yeah, what does that tell you?
How can they be divided? I mean, what does it tell me? It tells me that they didn't even bother to take the time to figure it out. I mean, if they're divided, they're only divided with 15 responses. That's not an overwhelming response or an overwhelming indication of how the businesses feel about the casino at all. Is it?
Well, look, compare it to what's happened in Everett, what's happened in Springfield, and in Millbury.
These guys didn't even take the time to fill out a damn survey.
Right. Those three communities have host agreements signed, and the business communities in those communities have all supported the casino.
Yes.
Milford, completely divided. I mean, they're taking a neutral position, you have to assume that they're divided. That's what Barry Feingold has said in the paper.
Well, I would think that they have to take a neutral position because only 15 people out of 700 bothered to fill out the survey.
Well, what does that tell you about? I mean, it's a lobbying and advocacy group for business, and they aren't able to come up with a point on this casino.
Would you have rather them now come out and say, we're against it?
I would have liked to see the 500 or 600 members take a stand, because this is the biggest issue in Milford in at least 100 years.
That's right. Steve?
We met with the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors about a month ago and discussed this various issue. And I can tell you from the comments that we got back from the Board of Directors, a large Board of Directors, 15, 16 people, it was divided right there on that board. It was 50-50, 60-40, whatever it was. You couldn't really tell, but I think only 15 responded because most businesses are a little hesitant to take a stand for fear of losing customers.
Do you think the town is just as divided, Steve?
I do.
You do?
I do. Just anecdotally from talking to people. I see many people that have different personal reasons why they want it, and many, many people who have very strong personal reasons why they don't want it.
Rob?
Well, you're asking what's changed recently, and I think the bottom line is that the propaganda campaign is in full swing right now. Nunes and Butero were on the radio. First, I'm going to give you a lot of credit for inviting us so that there's at least the opposite perspective.
You guys can come anytime you want, just like they can.
So I really do appreciate that. But what they were saying this week is how they're out here to inform the public and to give all the information back. Frankly, I've asked for traffic information and water information just about every week for the last 4 weeks, and they have not provided it. So when they stand here and tell you that they are working with the community, it almost seems to me like the louder they say it, the more often they say it, they're starting to believe their own lies because they have not been providing the information. Traffic is going to be horrible. It is absolutely going to be horrible.
Is that the biggest concern of you guys?
It is a concern. Water is an issue. Yeah. Frankly, they also keep talking about how much money they have spent on all of the studies here. Yeah. One of the things I brought up was that the Springfield host agreement, one of the attachments actually showed a 48-inch diameter waste pipe. You don't have to do a study if you've got a 48-inch pipe taking all of your garbage away. When you don't have any sewer pipe going by a fallow site, as Noon says, you have to study it. I don't know why they're surprised that they had to spend some money to study this kind of a project.
Have you guys been, they're a Fortune 500 company, millions and millions of dollars flowing in it. Have you guys been impressed with what they have done at all?
Not really. They came in, sort of as salesmen with spin, thinking.
Are they still doing that, John?
Yes, they are. They have not presented a balanced view. I mean, what was the quote that David Nunes had? He said on your show just 2 days ago, he said that the people of Milford have heard enough. Imagine. He's trying to stifle and shut down discussion. Well, let me tell you something. The discussion has just begun.
Because the referendum vote is the next issue after selectmen probably vote 2-1 to sign the host agreement. Steve? Rob?
I don't know what to say on that one. The timeline is that, yes, the host agreement gets produced. It gets approved by the Board of Selectmen. And again, from a propaganda point of view, what they're talking about is doing a one-on-one convincing of the public that they should be voting for this. Well, I'll say it again, if it's such a great deal, produce the data, and the public, after hearing all of the good things that this casino is going to do for them, will vote for it. The bottom line is that there is not enough good to offset the bad.
If you ran into David Nunes or Scott Butera at a coffee shop this morning, what would you ask him, Steve?
I would.
Come on, sit down, Steve, and let's talk. What would you tell him?
I would ask him to address the issues that we keep harping on have not been addressed. If you look at the discussion yesterday, it was water, sewer, traffic. Okay, and these are all things that are measurable, that you can throw engineering at, that you can throw money at, and you can resolve. They're tangible kind of things. The things that are really going to impact the citizens of this town are the things that are not tangible, and that is crime, the impact of a whole bunch of temporary workers coming into this community.
Property value, does that concern you?
We expect property values to be impacted significantly in this town.
You guys have your own propaganda campaign, though, right?
We have a point of view. We think it's reasonable and well thought out. We're all from Milford. We live here. We are. To me, we're under assault from a group that is $1 billion group, and they have more money than us. But we have the hometown advantage.
One of the things in the host agreement says that part of the money that's going to come to the town is going to be derived from revenue that the casino brings in. In other words, a percentage. Do you think that makes us a partner with the casino? No,
and it also means that it's a percentage and it's a calculation. It's not a guarantee. As far as I know, there's only really two guarantees in life, and the language in any host agreement is not a guarantee, no matter how much you think it might be. The Finance Committee, for instance, is now reviewing the math, and they have brought up a great question about whether our state aid to Milford will go down.
The state aid will not.
The state aid will not go down?
Most likely will not. At least the lottery portion, there's a contingent in the legislation that says no to that. I can give you a document that I have.
Well, the lottery portion is a small part, is a very small part of the overall local aid.
Overall state aid, the cherry sheet, there's been some indications that it could go down $2 to $5 million.
Yes,
because we're going to be considered a wealthy or richer community.
It's not arbitrary. There's a formula for that,
right?
And the formula for that depends on what you take in for income, in property taxes, and the communities that take in more get less state aid. So that's going to take the $20 million we're getting in tax revenue, or whatever the number is at this point, and reduce it by $4 or $5 million.
the casino officials, Scott Butera and Dave Nunes, have said some of your information has been skewed and wrong. But you think theirs is too, right?
Oh.
Has yours been wrong?
No, ours is well researched, but it's our opinions of the information that we've gathered. And it either, people have to do their own research. They can listen to us and then add in their own research.
Go ahead, Rob.
One of the comments that they said is we're unfunded. We're not paying for studies. We are a volunteer organization. I would love to be making several $100s an hour, like Mr. Reardon does, for doing this kind of research. We're doing this out of the goodness of our hearts, out of the love for Milford. That's not what they are doing. Mr. Reardon's going to make $10, $20, $30 million when this project goes forward as an engineering firm doing this project. He's not doing this out of the love of Milford.
I guess I want to zero in on that point, and I was going to anyway. You guys have been around town a long time. Steve, at least Steve and John I've known for a long time.
Only 24 years for me.
Well, you're a newcomer then. Let's get rid of him, huh? But I guess I want to comment from you about why you're doing this. Why you are so vehemently opposed and
let me just jump in on that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're asking if I was to sit down at breakfast. Well, I sat down with Alan Kronberg when that storefront first opened up. I was the first guy that walked in there. And I spent probably 2 hours talking to him, saying, I just don't understand what casinos are. I've been to one. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to do for the town of Milford. Just educate me. I'm here to be educated. Right. I want the facts. And they have not produced facts. And that's the disappointing thing. It's been 2-3 months since I've sat down with them, since the storefront's been open, and they have not produced anything other than, in my opinion, propaganda.
Do you think it's not worth your while to sit down with them again?
I've asked at these open forums for the information.
And you haven't got it?
I have not received it. It was announced that all of the information has come back to almost all of the information. I said I must be the only one that hasn't received the information to date. I gave my email to our lawyer 2 weeks ago, have not received anything. The bottom line is they are saying that they're being helpful to the town. They want to help the town, but in fact, they are not doing what they're saying.
The community, you're just looking to preserve the community, save the community from this place?
No, I mean, my view is that the negatives of the positives. I've looked at both, and I've come to that conclusion. It's just my opinion. Yep. There's a whole bunch of negatives. The positive is the money, but you know what? The money is, as we now find out, it may reduce state aid. As one of the finance individuals mentioned, it could also, if the assessed value goes down during a recessionary period, that $20 million could become $15 million. And then if we lose some state aid, and now it's down to, say, $12 million, is it worth it? But the real issue on the math is the reduction in our property values. If you use 5%, the average person, in Milford owns a home at $300,000. They're out $15,000 from day one. Getting back $800 a year, which is what the calculation is, means it's going to take about 17 years in the calculation to break even. Why would you enter into an arrangement where you lose $15,000 day one and you get $800 back a year for 17 years?
Steve?
Such a deal, John, huh? My wife has asked me many times, why are you doing this? Yeah. Why are you doing this? It's like...
That's my question, too, I guess. Yeah. Do you feel
like
you're up against it?
Going against windmills here. We don't think so. We, as John said, we're the home team. We love this town. That's the reason why we're doing it. Obviously, none of us are going to make a cent for doing this. We're losing a lot of time. I still have a consulting business part-time, and I'm losing time and money doing this. I'm donating this. Why? Simply because I believe this is a really bad thing for Milford. It's going to definitely impact the quality of our lives forever once this is in. Once that referendum, if that referendum ever gets approved, all bets are off, because then we have zero leverage.
Because you feel as though the town meeting will have to go along.
No. I mean, okay, let's say the referendum and the town meeting. If that ever, all those get through, Once that's done, okay, we have no more leverage, zero leverage, and they'll do whatever the heck they want to do.
Have you guys ever contacted anybody from the Gaming Commission to tell them your concerns?
We do plan to do that.
John?
Yeah, here's another great question. You know, there's plenty of us that have come out against the casino from Milford. But not one person, not one Milford person has come out publicly and said they're for the casino. Even the selectmen, they've just said either they're for the host agreement or against the host agreement. But where is the Milford people that are for the casino? Why aren't they up here?
There's no formed group like you guys pro-casino.
But there's, you know, why don't we offer a challenge?
Yep.
Come on up here, Milford residents that are for the casino. We want to hear from you. Why hasn't there been any?
Right. Gentlemen, go ahead, Steve. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Have you again. You know, and just keep in touch. I think it's important for both sides to get the word out. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you for your time.
Okay, our guests this morning, Casino-Free opponents, Steve Trettel, John Seaver, and Rob Mitchell.